My Better Living. Spend some time with Nurse Shar for honest and healing conversation about the benefits, challenges, and real-life struggles of living healthy, well, fit, and free. Real discussion for real people who want real change. My Better Living. This podcast is being broadcast on Power Plug Radio, home of your throwback jams. You can download Power Plug Radio app on Google Play or the Apple iStore. Don't forget to subscribe to the Power Plug Radio YouTube, where you can catch My Better Living live every Tuesday night. And visit www.powerplugradio.com to find out how you can sponsor the next episode.
You're listening to Power Plug Radio, home of your throwback jams.
Hello, everybody. Welcome. This is episode 5 of My Better Living, called Protecting Your Heart. And this is Nurse Shar.
I'm Latricia Ali. Hello.
And shout out to everyone watching live on Power Plug Radio, YouTube, as well as those that understood the assignment and you have downloaded that Power Plug Radio app on Google Play or your Apple iStore, and you are now listening live. This week at the Nurses Station, we have a very special guest, Iyara Sunray Mayat, owner of Yummy Wellness, and she is here to chop it up with us. We're so excited. She actually brought us, this is we need to expect this from our guests, right? So she understood an even further assignment. She must have been reading my mind, because I was sitting here thinking, I'm hungry, but it's a little bit too late for me to eat something. And she came through with this yummy smoothie full of berries and protein and deliciousness. And it was exactly what I needed, because earlier today I was feeling really overwhelmed, but that is a story for later on in the show. This month we are talking about matters of the heart. Last week we talked about
Uncuffing.
Yes. Last week we talked about uncuffing, reason to uncuff, reason to pull yourself away.
Yes.
February is also American Heart Month. And, this is a great time for people to focus on their cardiovascular health, focus on your heart. We told you last week, you have one heart, and your job is to protect your heart. So this week we were talking about protecting your heart. A lot of people always think about hypertension. They think about stroke. They think about cardiovascular disease when they talk about American Heart Month, wear the red dress, heart disease. But it's just as important to not only protect your heart from chronic disease, but to also protect your heart emotionally, spiritually, and really care for the overall well-being of your heart. And so today we are going to get to know Iyara, and we're going to find out how these ladies have some wealth of knowledge and words of wisdom for us about protecting your heart and all the ways that you can do that. I'm actually, normally I do like a piece of health news, but we have so much to talk about that I'm actually just going to jump into the honest truth. And this one is probably going to really blow a lot of people's minds about what I'm going to say. But it's the honest truth. So the honest truth is 1 million people will have a heart attack or die from coronary heart disease this year. 16.5 million people 20 and older are living with coronary heart disease right now.
Yikes.
795,000 people will have a stroke this year.
What?
Yes. 356,000 people will go to the hospital this year with cardiac arrest. There's over 103 million people that have high blood pressure right now. 6.5 million Americans over the age of 20 are living with heart failure.
Repeat that.
6.5 million. Let me clear my throat. 6.5 million people, Americans, and that's and these stats are just, it's American Heart Month, so these stats are just among Americans, the people living in this nation. 6.5 million are living with heart failure. Heart failure, not heart disease. Heart failure, like
Full
not
on.
the opposite of success.
That is shocking.
The face that you're making right now, like for those of you who can see it, and for those of you who can't, Latricia's literally looking at me like, how is that possible?
Right?
Tell me what you think about that. I mean, that's the honest truth.
That's mind blowing. Huh?
That's
That's
the
the first thought. Like,
Yes.
what? Like
Yes.
you just there's a commonality in it all, and I mean, most is like high blood pressure, for instance, only comes from food and thoughts. Literally, you can make your blood pressure be high by worrying and everything. You can make your blood pressure go up by the things that you eat. But at the same thought, you can also lower it by changing your thoughts. You can lower it by changing the type of food that you take or eat. You know,
High blood pressure and heart disease, sort of a silent killer, and I understand why. How many of the people I really want to know, the honest truth that I really want to know is how many people actually know that they've had have high blood pressure. How many of those people maybe had a small heart attack or maybe a stroke, a mini stroke, and didn't even know? How many of those people who have high blood pressure, have suffered a heart attack, or have suffered a stroke, that haven't actually gone back and changed their habits, right? So, you know, I listen to those numbers and my heart hurts. Like literally my heart hurts. You know, I was just reading a tweet and they were talking about, somebody tweeted and they said, what is something that you wish they would teach in school but they don't? And of course I'm like, you know, confident sexual health, you know, that's a good topic. Budgeting and investing. You know, how to, I think I said something else, you know, common everyday things that adults go through that we don't, that you learn later in life. I think we should teach kids earlier. But, you know, after reading these numbers, I want to go back and I want to adjust my tweet and I want to say, heart health.
Yes.
Teaching people how to protect their heart, like physically, like all of these things are like physically protecting your heart.
Yeah, yeah, like a class, like heart health class.
Yes.
Chapter 1.
Yes.
Exercise. Chapter 2.
No
food.
salt.
Chapter
Like those
3.
kind of things.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
I mean, just it's staggering to know that, you know, so many people, you know, 1 million people will have a heart attack this year or die, and these are coming from the American Heart Association. So, you know, it's not just something, you know, a lot of people I think fall into the trap of, if it's not directly affecting me, or if it's not something that I can see,
Yes.
then it doesn't exist.
Yes.
Like, I'm sorry, people don't walk around with a red dot on their forehead saying, I have heart disease. You know, you don't get this, you know, big sign in your head that says I have diabetes. Usually something pretty devastating happens before you get to that point where you can actually recognize the signs and symptoms. I think we talked about this a couple weeks ago, but one of the things, you know, as a nurse that you know is that if you find somebody who's newly diagnosed as a diabetic, they've probably been living with high blood sugars for so long that when you finally start to work with them to get them under control, they feel weird because they've been used to them being so high for so long, they don't even know what normal feels like anymore. Or you're used to having that headache, you know, that comes and goes for so long that you don't even know what life without it feels like. And so life without it feels weird.
People are in denial. They're straight up in denial.
Yes.
They really think that they are healthy.
Yes.
Yep.
They think that, oh, I take a couple of pills here and there. You know, it's just a few times a month. You know how many times I take pills every month? I don't know the last time that I had to use ibuprofen.
Right.
Okay? So I should need to grab a Benadryl or anything once a week.
Right.
That's not healthy. And people are just used to grabbing those over-the-counter bandages and thinking that life is normal living with these symptoms.
Right.
But it's always a symptom of something greater.
So if somebody's out there listening right now, you know, I really want you to take heed to this. You know, talk to somebody, share these stats. I'm going to read them again. 1 million people this year will have a heart attack or die from coronary heart disease. 16.5 million over the age of 20 are currently living with coronary heart disease. 795,000 people will have a stroke this year. 356,000 will have cardiac arrest outside of a hospital. 103 million adults have high blood pressure, and 6.5 million Americans aged 20 and older are living with heart disease. And this came from the American Heart Association. So there's that.
I think you touched on it a lot too when you saying you can't see it, because people focus a lot on their bodies because that's something you can see. If you start to get a rash, you're going to immediately pay attention to it because you don't want it to be seen. But because we can't see the inside of our body, a lot of people, the only indicator they have is if they have pain. And by that time, it's been going on for a while.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I think that people are paying more attention to the outside versus the inside. But in everything we teach, it all starts inside. Topical skincare is just an addition to the skincare that you've been doing based on what you eat and what you take. So
Right.
Exactly.
I was reading a book a couple weeks ago. I was part of a book club, and there was a quote how pain is like your body's way of trying to communicate with you.
yeah.
Try to communicate something vital to you that probably has been going on for some time. It doesn't usually start with pain, but you're right. You can't
Right.
see it. And so, we're going to jump right into the nurse's station because we are going to get all in Yara's business, literally her business, Yummy
Yes.
Wellness. The nurse's station is sponsored by the Bird Cares nonprofit organization. Dealing with the challenges of today's problems requires problem solvers who bring different perspectives and are willing to take risk. The Bird Cares emerged out of a pursuit to inspire and support the community and a desire for actions to speak louder than words. Established in 2017, they're an organization driven by progressive ideas, bold action, and a strong foundation of support. The Bird Cares is dedicated to improving health outcomes in high-risk communities, one message at a time. Their mission is to inspire health and behavioral changes among families and communities through health promotion, target marketing, and education. So let hashtag the Bird Cares take your message from idea to reality. If you would like to sponsor an episode of the Nurses Station, please visit www.powerplugradio.com to find out how you can do so. So again, our special guest this week is Miss Yara Sunray Mayat, who's the owner of Yummy Wellness. So
Yes.
tell us a little bit about Yummy Wellness. Yummy Wellness sounds yummy. So I will tell you,
Delicious.
this is my little testimony. In addition to the wonderful smoothie that she brought me, she actually makes this wonderful non-dairy parfait. Baby, if you are looking for something like a nice little, I've eaten it for breakfast. I've eaten it as a dessert, like, a late night dessert. It is wonderful, but I'm going to let her tell you about the Yummy Wellness. How did you come up with the concept of, well, first, what is Yummy Wellness?
Well, it's Yummy Wellness Living, and it's about the lifestyle. So it's all about sharing easy, fun, and flavorful solutions to make healthy living something that can be long-term, something that you want to do, something you enjoy. So it's something that you keep on doing. So it started out with smoothies, actually. It's been like my go-to for getting my nutrition in. I've tried several of the healthy ingredients that people rave about, and when it got down to trying like the seaweeds, I couldn't do it. Like,
What are some of these other healthy ingredients that
Oh, my
like
goodness.
seaweeds? I couldn't do it.
well, different herbs like burdock root and turmeric, and I like doing the berries, and also sea moss was one of the main ingredients that a lot of people that people are learning about lately. It's really been popular, and it helps remineralize the body and boost the immune system, pull out toxins. And there's a lot of ingredients that function that way that I wanted to try, but it just wasn't enjoyable. So I tried different combinations, different healing foods, cleansing foods like berries and greens, and different combinations, along with the herbs and nutritional boosters, and found different ways to make it yummy. So
Definitely
after,
yummy.
Yes.
after trying and just like sharing with friends and family, the orders started coming, and they just kept coming, and just sharing the recipes just became another part of my life. So Yummy Wellness Living came about, and I started doing food workshops teaching people how to pair different healthy ingredients, but in ways that are enjoyable. So how to eat quinoa in a way that's enjoyable, not just steaming it, putting a little salt on, and trying
do you
to
eat your
bury
quinoa?
it. Like,
How do you eat your quinoa?
okay, so it depends.
Okay.
I do it different ways. Sometimes you can have it with breakfast and like a cereal, like an alternative to oatmeal with like nuts and raisins,
Okay.
and a little bit of berries, little peanut butter, some shredded
Wait
coconut.
a minute now. You
some-
speaking my language. You said
right.
peanut butter. I love a good peanut butter.
Make it nice and creamy, a little shredded coconut. You put your chia seeds in there, your hemp seeds, some pumpkin seeds. You can get all the goodness.
That
in
sounds
a little
yummy.
Cereal, And
Do you make it like an overnight oat?
you
kind of.
can. It's always better like the next day.
Yeah.
'Cause I put a little maple syrup in there, so all the sweet really
girl, you
soaks in, and it's really yummy. So I do it that way, and then I'll do it instead of rice, like with my
Yes,
meals.
yes,
'Cause
yes.
I don't eat rice, and that's because of I learned the food builds your hormones. So I eat for what my body needs. I eat for balance. And that's one of the other things that has been like a major focus is bring balance to the body, not just trying to lose weight or whatever the goal is, whatever the mission is. I still help people to achieve their mission, but focus on the foundation, which is the nutrition. So
Eat to live.
Yes.
exactly, eat to thrive.
Right,
Yes,
right,
not just
right.
survive. And I got tired of surviving. I got tired of all the pain from the different fertility disorders. Because I was diagnosed with endometriosis and polycystic ovary syndrome when I was 18, 19.
Oh, yikes.
And that was just like terrifying. So I had to take charge and started researching and trying herbs. And then I learned about again, the food builds your hormones and how that impacts the body. And I just did a complete overhaul, and it became my life.
Right.
And I was able to help other women conceive, 8 other women.
Wow.
So I was like, okay, there's something to this.
Yes, now that's big.
Nutrition's
That's
the foundation
big.
always.
Share that a little bit because
Yeah.
I actually have a girl that I know that I went to elementary school with, and we're connected on the socials, and she shares her battle with endometriosis, and I don't think that, and also polycystic ovarian syndrome. I don't think that people realize how prevalent that is, especially for Black women who deal with endometriosis, fibroids, polycystic ovarian syndrome. Can you talk a little bit about that and how you were able to sort of reverse the effects of that? I mean, that's amazing.
Yeah, that was like the number one thing. I've always wanted to be a mother. Like my whole life, that was like number one. It's like, oh, I want to be an architect. Oh, I want to be an interior designer. But I want to be a mother. Like that's always on the list. So that was devastating. Like I sat in my car and I cried for at least like an hour. And I just like had to pull it together and was like, no, I'm gonna figure this out. So I got with a natural doctor and we tried a couple of different herbs. And different, he would do different combinations for me, but it wasn't until I started really like paying attention to my cycle, to my body, like when things are changing, what pains I'm feeling, because it's very painful. I would literally like walk around and like just press on my ovaries, like where my ovaries are, because I could feel where my ovaries are because it would be so inflamed and painful. Every step was just like excruciating. So I'd hold on while I'm walking, like that was life.
Every month,
a bottle of all the time, like at different times in the month, because your ovaries are doing different things at different times.
Yes, that's why
So
they call it a
it's
cycle.
Yeah,
preparing
yes.
those eggs,
Yes.
and if the hormones are not in balance,
Yes.
it's doing something totally different, and it's forming a cyst. And it's forming multiple cysts. It's poly. Poly means multiple. So it's multiple cysts that are forming on your ovaries. Sometimes they're big, sometimes they're small, and sometimes it's more intense. So I actually after that I conceived my oldest son.
Wow.
Yes,
And
using
how old
just
is he?
herbs. He is 10 years old now.
Oh,
My
how
giant bear,
amazing.
yes. And after that, I continued on. Like I kind of relaxed on it. Life went all kind of different ways, and I stopped really focusing on that. And everything came back. All the pains came back. All the all the pains like really just like hit me hard. And the cyst came back, and I had a cyst rupture. They don't know how many or how big it was, but I had internal bleeding, and they had to go in and do surgery because I was just filling up with blood. Wow. So like after that, I had a miscarriage. My skin was acting crazy. My hormones were out of whack. My skin was scaly like a dragon, like on my forehead. It was horrible. I got skinny. So I started researching because I'm like, this is not right. I'm eating healthy foods. I'm eating apples and rice and cherries and dates, and I'm eating tofu. And those are all things I shouldn't have been eating because they were increasing the wrong hormone levels in my body. They were boosting those estrogen levels that were feeding those problems, and I didn't know. And it wasn't until I really like dove into biology and like I had a HR job for a property management company, and they had like several properties, 13 companies I'm doing payroll and HR for. But I have my earbud in listening to biology lectures because I'm going through so much. I had to figure this out.
Right.
So after that, just like learning how the foods build your body and what does what and what affects what hormones, like that just took it to a whole nother level. And that's really when like Yummy Wellness Living really started just like budding from there.
Right. Now that's the magic that they talk about, right? You heard her, right? She was working full time for a real estate company and taught herself biology of hormones and how to make it work for your body. Like that is like, that's magic. That's magic.
Yes. And after that, I actually quit that job. And I went back to
As
school.
you should have.
I went back to school for traditional Chinese medicine and started studying herbs and acupuncture and just like how the different energies within the internal organs, like how that actually impacts your body, your life, your decision making, all of it. And really learning how to correct that flow of that energy, and also the proper foods that I needed to consider.
You brought up something that I think a lot of women, and because now I'm interested and I'm going to ask this question, because I think that sometimes you're absolutely right. When we get on a health and wellness kick, and at the beginning of this year, I'm really trying to encourage people on how to stay healthy, how to like eat foods that are right, and how to just kind of maintain a good quality of life and good living. But I think that we ignore the little things like hormones and how they truly in the background affect a lot of the things that are happening in our body. So if you could tell somebody like right now, what are some things that are people think are healthy but really are messing up their hormones right now? What are some of those things?
Soy.
Okay.
Soy is in like everything.
Yeah.
It's so hard to avoid soy. It's in your salad dressings, it's in your sauces, it's in like all the prepared foods that you can purchase. Like a lot of that has soy in it. Soy protein, soy lecithin. It might have soy for like the tofu. Tofu is soy. A lot of the fake meats are made out of soy.
Yep.
And it really isn't good for you. I mean, it's awesome for like car seeds and like, making vinyl, stuff like that. But it's not good for.
It's good for
Don't
making.
even sound right, does it?
Don't
like
even
to
sound
going
right.
in your body.
That's kind of sounded
and
like
vinyl.
when I was telling you about the keto, and it was like, but you can't eat mangoes and apples. I'm like, this doesn't sound right. So soy is good for vinyl, but it's
Right.
Like making materials. It's great for making materials. If you're for cars and shoes and everything, like it's good for not ingesting. It's not good for ingesting. It's not the same soy that they have over in the Asian countries.
You said it's not.
It's not. It's not. And it's also pre-digested with enzymes over there too. So the whole preparation process is totally different.
So
and
how
we're
do I get
different
that
too.
soy?
Pardon me?
How do I get that soy?
That's an excellent question, but that's not even my focus. Like, I'm like, okay, what is going to balance my body? I'm trying to enhance. So what can help rebuild, replenish, and enhance my body? What's going to help me thrive? And what's really going to make everything feel good again? Like, I want to feel good. I don't want to be in pain. I want to be energized. I want to feel good all the time. I don't want to have those pains. So, like, living life without those pains, it's so strange sometimes because, like, the times that I have fallen off of my regimen, the pains will creep back, and I'm like, oh man, whoa, that's what that was like. Okay, now
Your
never
body will
again,
tell
never
you
again.
quickly.
Yeah,
Right?
Your body
You'll
will
jump right
tell
back
you.
in. Yeah.
You have to listen to your body, because your body will, and the pain that you feel is your body literally screaming at you.
Yeah.
exactly.
Like
'Cause
Yeah.
so out of
it's a buildup.
balance.
It
Yeah.
will literally
Yes.
scream at you.
And that's why it's a lifestyle,
Overload.
though. Like you were saying, because you can't
Exactly.
start it, stop it, stop it. It's a thing. Like keep it going and be consistent with it. Like
Exactly.
absolutely.
It's about a lifestyle change. You have to create a new lifestyle for yourself. Find ways to make it easy. Find ways to make it enjoyable. So like that's why I said it. I share easy, fun, and flavorful solutions, because if it's not something that's easy for them to do, they don't want to really switch to it. If it's not something that is, exciting, where it has all these colors and textures, you're like, healthy stuff, But if it has, you smell curry when you walk in the door. You're like, ooh, can I have a taste? If you're smelling all the different herbs and spices like rosemary and thyme and oregano,
Right.
it draws you in. So that makes it easier with transitioning when you can really enjoy whatever it is that you're eating. It's supposed to heal you and nourish you, but it's not just something to get through.
Right.
Yes.
But I think that sometimes we have to, especially when we're trying out something new. And I learned this when I went plant-based a couple years ago, is that we have to be patient with our taste buds. A lot of times
Absolutely.
when we switch over, we're so used to eating a certain texture, you're used to eating a certain flavor, and your body craves that. For anybody who, if you've ever gone, low carb or low sugar, those first couple of days are going to be horrible, because your body's so used to tasting and feeling those foods that when you switch over, it's really hard. But eventually you can change like your cravings and your taste buds. Like I was never a Brussels sprout person. But I remember after like maybe a couple months of going plant-based, I remember wanting some Brussels sprouts so bad. And I'm like, well, listen, I was like, why do I want some Brussels sprouts? That was never really part of my routine of eating. But we have to be patient with our taste buds and be patient, and they'll come around. They eventually come around.
Yeah, and also realizing that, I mean, not for nothing, but we were raised, or the food that we've been given, we've been trained to like it. Like literal poisons that they put in our food, our body, they've trained us to actually think that it tastes good. So then when you taste something more natural or the real thing, it's like, ugh, that's nasty, but it's really not. It's just that you've been trained to accept something that's killing you.
We've been
pretty
conditioned.
much.
And
Yeah.
I don't think that people realize, like, in this country, there's a lot of foods, like how you were mentioning about the soy is different in Asian countries than it is here, how they prepare it, how they serve it. But that goes for a lot of different foods. There's a lot of different
everything is
foods
different.
that they don't sell in other countries that because of things like yellow dye number 5, red dye. There's things like little Debbie
Oh my
cakes.
gosh.
There's countries that literally ban those things because they have ingredients that are horrible for you, but we do.
Yeah.
You'll look at
Captain
certain
Crunch.
food items, and you'll look at the same food items in other countries. Why does our food items have like 10 extra ingredients?
Yes. In Germany, do you know the sprinkles in America are literally illegal?
Yes.
And illegal.
Oh,
I found
yes.
it out because this German bakery was using American sprinkles because that's where they were from, and they got told on, and they had to shut down and got
Yes.
fined because the sprinkles are literally illegal. And then remember when the big tsunami happened? I think it was Indonesia, perhaps. I think countries all come together and they send seeds and food and stuff. They said, America, we don't want your seeds.
We do not want your
starve.
food.
We don't want your food.
There is a list, a laundry list of foods that they've banned in other countries because of specific ingredients that are very harmful to you, that are located right now in your Dollar Tree, in your Dollar General, in your
especially
corner
in
store,
those,
in your
especially.
Walmart, in your Publix, in your Winn-Dixie, in your Kmart, if those still exist.
Easy
Those foods
access.
right now are easily accessible right here in the United States.
Yeah.
And when I read that, I almost died. I almost died. So you're absolutely right. We've been conditioned.
goodness.
We've been conditioned into poor health.
Yeah.
That's
and
where
one
those
more-
numbers coming from. Those numbers you read when we first started. That's where those numbers are coming from.
Right. And there's a video on YouTube right now where people from other countries are trying American food for the first time. You should see their faces.
Oh my god.
They're like, you said this is what? They're like literally pulling it out of their mouth and flinging it. It's on YouTube right now. Look at you know.
There was another video that I watched, and it was someone on the street, and they were in the UK, and they were asking the person, well, how much do you think, and something as simple like different medical procedures would cost? How much you would think that getting blood pressure medication should cost? And people are like, oh, that's free, right? And they're like, oh no, you know, that it costs this amount of money. How much you think birth control should cost? Oh my gosh. How much do you think, you know, having a tooth extracted would cost? And they were literally blown away by how much we were paying for that service here in America.
The pieces all fit. The pieces all fit.
Well, I'm going to ask you, Yara, what's important to you right now? Like, what's important to Yummy Wellness?
Really, the most important thing is balance, honestly. The focus has been balance. So it's balancing the body function, hormones, total balance as far as like overall wellness. So it's not just the body. I mean, it's body, mind, and spirit. Anytime I do coaching with anyone, I incorporate it all. So balance is number one, because if your mind's not right, your heart's not right, your stomach's not right, you know,
My stomach's not right.
you're battling allergies all the time, you know, your life's not going to be right, you know. So balance is number one. Hormones, you know, like I said, I wanted to be a mother. That was off the table until I found some balance. So
That's amazing.
balance is number one.
I'm so happy you didn't just accept that. You know how many people just accept what the doctor tell them and they just don't even try to look past that, or they just go with it. But I'm so happy that you didn't accept it.
Oh, no,
and you
I
went
have 3
further
children now.
Oh,
You have how many now?
I have 3. I have 3 beautiful children, 3 miracle babies. Yes, I do.
And you helped
Congratulations.
eight other women
Yes,
who were experiencing the same thing have children.
yes.
That is
beautiful.
amazing.
That's beautiful.
That sounds like some yummy wellness. to me.
Yes, it does. Makes me want to shake.
Listen,
Not a shake.
listen. I want to like
Smoothie.
lick the
Smoothie.
bottom of this cup. You just don't understand. I'm like, I don't want to be on camera looking like I'm like. But that's how bad I want to like lick the bottom of this. But I'm not going to do that.
I'll have more next time, I promise.
Thank you. But today we're talking about protecting your heart. So Latricia, tell us about a great way that we could protect our heart.
Okay, well, one of my favorite ways, meditation. Meditation protects your heart physically, scientifically. I spoke a little bit last week about how sitting and breathing literally tells your body to calm down and thins the blood out. Adrenaline and stress makes the blood get thicker because it goes into survival mode. Like if I get cut or if something happens, I need to make sure I don't bleed out. So that's why your blood, gets thicker, and even when you're stressed, the blood goes away from your extremities and goes straight to your vital organs. Like you can't even think straight when you're in survival, That's why they call it. But anyway, I always get off track. I'm sorry. But yes, meditation literally soothes and it's like a massage for the heart. Sitting and deep breathing literally massages your heart.
So I told you that one of the things that I left 2021 with, this is one of the greatest things that happened in 2021, is that I started meditating and started spending some time just, quiet, and started doing some guided meditation. I started with 5 minutes. I worked my way up to 10 minutes. What would you advise people that, because I think a lot of people, they hear things like yoga and plant-based eating and meditation. And I think that sometimes those words can be overwhelming to people because they don't know where to start. They don't know, like, it sounds good. It sounds like this person who has like this really nice, even flow of a lifestyle.
Okay, yes,
they're probably floating around, eating their plant-based foods, drinking their yummy wellness smoothies, meditating, and yogaing, and whatever.
Yes.
But honestly and truthfully, I think that I was reading something that says, some of there's a lot of executives that really practice the art of yoga. I mean, the art of guided meditation as a way to get them through. So this really isn't just for that one person in your mind.
Yes.
How would somebody get started with a guided meditation?
Okay.
Or a meditation?
Okay. So First of all, meditation is not turning off your thoughts. This is why so many people have anxiety about, I can't do it. I tried it and it just won't work. Your thoughts are not supposed to stop. Okay. So, with meditation, don't think that you're doing it wrong because you're still thinking, okay? But all you want to focus on is simply inhaling and exhaling, okay? And the reason that a lot of executives and people are drawn to it is because it gives you an opportunity to dwell in the future without the anxiety. And what I mean by that is you can think about what you want to happen because our minds are that powerful, okay?
Yes.
So think about what you want to happen. Spend time visualizing what you want to happen, and most importantly, focus on the feeling, because this kicks off the law of attraction, okay? The energies. So focus on how you want to feel in your visualization. So now you're able to think about the future but not have the anxiety, because if we're sitting here now and thinking about the future, that's where it's coming from, like, oh, what am I gonna, okay? So meditating, start off literally 60 seconds. Start off 3 breaths, like literally much. I feel fine, but once I do it, I'm like, oh yeah, I was off. Like I really did need it and I didn't know. So just start off with a few breaths. And if your mind wanders, let it. This is your time to examine what is it that you're letting wander in your mind all the time. Does it need to stay in there? Do you need to get rid of it? So we put a lot with meditation because you think you're supposed to be levitating or floating, and it is not that. Like, we are all human, we're all grounded. Yeah, no.
I'm gonna tell you what I thought about plant-based eating at one point. I'll tell you later.
Oh, I'll tell you what I thought.
Listen, I thought people just ate air and grass. I
did
used to
too.
make jokes about
Me
it.
too.
Like, what
Me
are
too.
you eating?
Me too.
Grass.
And that's why there's such a place for yummy wellness. Such a place, because people
Yes.
think automatically that food is going to be disgusting. Or
Well, meditation, you bring up such a great point, because earlier we talked about just the stress of life that can really just make your blood pressure go up, right?
Yes, yes.
And the art of meditation can actually lower your heart rate, lower your blood pressure, and every time you have an opportunity to lower your blood pressure is an opportunity to keep off heart disease.
Absolutely.
Every single time.
Absolutely. And it directly combats it. And eventually it'll become a part of you. But just start with a couple breaths. If you feel like you can't do 5 minutes and you feel like you're going to jump out of your skin, because that's going to happen at first. When I first start doing it with children, we'll do a couple breaths and I say, who feels tired? And they'll be like, me. And I'm like, yes, now that'll go away. It's just that your body is so used to not being still that it thinks when you're being still, it must be time to go to sleep, because we're always moving. But eventually you'll be able to train your body to just sit and breathe. So a 60-second timer, a few breaths. If you feel like your mind is doing too much, literally say, I am breathing in, I am breathing out. I am breathing in, I am breathing out, as you're inhaling and exhaling.
You know, it was one of the most freeing things that you said, and because I struggled initially with this, with just meditating alone, and then when I got into the guided meditation, I was able to kind of have something else to kind of focus myself on.
Yes.
But the fact that you said that meditating doesn't mean you have to shut your mind off. That's actually very helpful.
That is like the myth of meditation, that your thoughts
Must
are
be in
nothing.
silence. And that, I mean, because my thing is, and one of the things that I think has helped me was at night sometimes turning my brain off is kind of hard to do. So for me, if my eyes are open and I'm like alert, my mind is going.
Yes.
Like there's no off button for it.
Yes. And that's another thing with meditation, shutting your mind off from outside sensory overload, because it even if you're in a spot, it reminds you to think negative thoughts even sometimes.
Yes.
So sometimes you have to close your eyes and literally put your brain where you want it to be. Literally. And that helps to change, because the brain doesn't know if you're really experiencing that or if you're just thinking it. So you literally have power to trick your brain into saying, no, I'm good. you know, and it'll start releasing that chemical. It will start releasing those hormones.
Well, if you think it long enough, you might just experience it.
Yes,
Because
absolutely.
You are what you think about.
Yeah, if you hold a thought for 17 seconds, that is all you need to kick off the law of attraction.
Really?
17
Wait, say that
seconds.
again.
If
I didn't
you-
know there was a time period
Yes,
now.
yes.
Hold on. Let me
Seven-
think about these winning lottery
And
numbers.
that-
for
yes.
17 seconds. Let me picture myself, you know, making it rain for 17 seconds.
There you go. There you go.
But yes, and that works positively and negatively. So holding a thought for 17 seconds kicks off the law of attraction in either sense.
Yes.
I love
Equal
that.
and opposite. Yes. Affirmations are very important.
Absolutely.
I mean, for me, I have to meditate when I go in. I have my affirmations that like specific ones, depending on what's going on. You know where I need to have my focus because I can't, like what you said, turn the brain off. I need to have my place to focus. So I have these certain affirmations that I'll go through and just kind of like feed myself that energy that way. So I know, okay, I know I'm taking care of business when I'm going into it. I'm not gonna be like, oh, took a nap. You know, I got my focus on.
And so here's a tip about affirmations that I started doing. So for the last couple years, I got into the habit of vision boarding. At first, I was doing vision boards like every year. And then, you know, sometimes I think we hold ourselves to certain standards, right? So I used to feel like if you didn't board at the beginning of the year, you cannot do your vision board because it's June and you cannot do a vision board. That is a lie. Those are constructs that we put on ourselves.
Yes.
So like last year, you know, the first part of the year was a little bit rough for me. And so I decided in July, I'm going to do a vision board, you know? And then guess what? I decided to do another one in January just because I can. And it's a 6-month one. And guess what? I'm going to do another one in 6 more months. But one of the things about affirmations that I do is I incorporate affirmations into my vision board. And, you know, they always say to put it somewhere where, you know, it's right next to my bed. So when I look up, and so while I'm actually physically getting myself ready, putting lotion on myself, like really doing my own self-care morning routine, those affirmations are on the board. Those affirmations that are telling me I am healthy, I am well, I am organized, I am like, those are right there on the board. So that's a great way to, you know, get those affirmations. I know some people put it on their mirrors.
I put mine next to it
in the bathroom.
Me too. You know, bright yellow piece of paper right next.
I put them in the laminating paper that you can get from the store. Just post them.
Yeah. And I actually have them. I have them at home and I have them at work.
Yes. Nice.
So, you know, however you need to ingest that.
Oh,
however you need to get that in.
May I offer? Make it a reminder on your phone.
Yep.
Your phone can have a daily reminder, so
My
have it remind
screensaver
you.
was a list of
Yes,
affirmations.
yes, but and that's great. And what happens is sometimes like we get used to our background screensaver, but you know what I'm saying. If you got those reminders popping up at any time of the day, and you literally tell yourself, "I will not complete it until I've said it out loud and I said it with conviction," you know, and then it's completed, and then it comes back the next day. So it kind of is helping you remind yourself who you are. That's really what affirmations are.
I love it.
Exactly.
So Yara, talk to us a little bit more about protecting our heart.
All right. Well, so one of the things that I said I'm focusing on is balance, and protecting my heart as far as energy goes is one of the things that I'm focusing on. In traditional Chinese medicine, they teach about the energetic principles and how the heart is actually the mind. And yes,
Wait a minute. I'm just letting that thought sink in. That
actually
really that's the head right there, right?
Yes,
That's the leader
yes,
right there.
yes.
I like that.
Yes.
I like that.
And all the energies, they play off of each other. They keep each other in check. And, you know, if there's anything out of balance, you know, everything starts to domino. So protecting that energy, and it actually controls mental clarity and helps with decision making. So, you know, one of the things they say is like women are emotional, and you know, as far as like with our hearts and everything, but no, the heart is the mind, and it actually helps with preventing reckless behavior. Believe that or not. Okay. So, you know.
Yes.
Yeah. When you see people out of control, you know, that's them a little restrained by their heart. Yeah. But
yes.
But no, so I'm doing like teas that are helping with my energy, with stress, with anxiety, you know, different teas that help with balancing the mood, balancing my hormone levels, just women's health overall. Like Chase Tree Berry, some red raspberry leaf. I had the ashwagandha for like the mood and balance, and blue butterfly pea.
Ooh.
And
I don't know what
I
that
need to
is,
look
but
up all
that sounds
this. I
like
need to look up all
that
this.
sounds beautiful and delicious at the
Yeah.
same
Yes.
time. A blue butterfly pea.
Yes, so different. I do different combinations, but they're all ones that are very soothing and helping me to balance myself and my energy. And certain foods are really nourishing and balancing, but certain herbs are very nourishing and balancing too. And as far as like protecting that heart energy and like going with your intuition, I feel like with the tea is helping me relax and being in more of like a more organized way of thinking and a sound mood. So that's one of the things I've really been focusing on for like my balance overall in life is right now really focusing on that heart energy and making sure that that's in balance.
I think that's amazing. I mean,
Yes.
I think that's a key word, balance. You know, I know this year I've been really focusing on being consistent. And it's funny because I was just making a video before we started, maybe like 2 hours ago, where this week I was feeling, I said I'm feeling really overwhelmed, just because there's a lot of things, you know, I'm really ambitious and there's a lot of things that I want to get done. And there's so much that I'm just like, okay, I can tackle it on. I'm going to fit that into this hour right here. And I'm going to fit this other thing into these 30 minutes that I have right here. And I'm feeling out of balance because I'm feeling overwhelmed. And I know it right now it's a temporary situation because I have a lot of things on my plate that eventually will get off my plate. But I think I want to add that word to my year is balance because you know, being consistent is great and it's nice, but I can't let it run me into the ground.
Absolutely, absolutely.
I can't let my
absolutely.
consistency run me into the ground,
Yes.
and finding that balance would be better for my heart.
Yes, yes.
We actually have a question. Well, actually, one question. I like to do a Q&A. And today's question is, why do people protect everything but their heart? They protect their credit, their cell phone, their bank account, their identification. Why isn't it just important to protect your heart? And it made me go, that is true. I mean, why don't we protect our heart more emotionally? Why don't we protect our heart more physically? Like you were even saying, like people literally get life insurance on their body, but they don't protect their heart. But they'll do everything else.
Yeah.
Why is that?
I think that a lot of the focus these days have shifted to the outside of the body away from the inside of the body. With every level, we say that it starts inside. Skincare, health, just anything. So at this point, people are more focused on fixing what they can see. I was saying, like, if you have bad acne, you're going to be like, I need to do something for this acne. Or if you have a rash that's starting to spread, oh my gosh, I can see this. It looks hideous. People can see this. And you can't really see what's in your body. So a lot of the times we were saying, like, you think that everything's fine until you feel pain. Right. But pain indicates that it's been going on for a minute. And, you know, so I think that it's because people's focus is on the outside of the body, not the inside. And we don't give it enough credit. We don't give our vessel enough credit.
I don't think so.
Yes, you can't see it. So if you can't see it, you can't touch it. You know, we're used to pushing that to the side, pushing our emotions,
Yes.
bearing our emotions.
Yes.
You know, so,
That
Yes.
seems to be like a new trend too, right? Is being like kind of hard and being tough and not showing emotions
Yes.
and not feeling like, you know. But on the flip side, you sort of see more people opening up. And, you know, I would say that that's probably a lot more healing. You know,
Absolutely.
and freeing.
Yes.
To just speak your truth regardless of how, you know, you might feel the blowback might be.
Oh yes.
But you're absolutely right how, you know, people will bypass certain you know, ailments, or okay, I just had a little chest pain, like, or even with foods. Like I remember before when I used to, eat meat all the time. I mean, every meal I had to have a piece of meat because that's just what you do.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And I didn't realize that a lot of times people say, oh, well, yeah, you're getting older, and that so your joints are supposed to hurt. No, they're not. Like I was thinking, okay, well, at the time I was approaching 40, so I'm like, okay, well, I'm approaching 40, so I'm supposed to be achy in the morning. I'm supposed to be, but it wasn't until I changed my diet that I realized that no, because it went away. Like when I get up in the morning, my bones don't hurt like they used to. So it's one of those things, and I even tell people, I actually, I think I told you, Latricia, that going plant-based made me realize there were other things that I'm sensitive to. Like I have a gluten sensitivity.
Same here.
And so
That's
we need to
new.
talk. But I have to pay attention to my body, because if I wasn't paying attention to my body, I wouldn't have known. I tell people, when you eat something, if it makes you bloated, if it makes you feel like tired, if it makes you feel anything other than like fueled and ready to go, that's probably not good for you.
Yes.
And
I
so
agree.
not paying attention to that, not paying attention to the fact that it's funny because my husband, a couple months ago, for a while, he was like really complaining just about like when he'd go to bed and lay in the bed and how his joints was hurting, his hips were hurting. He was like, oh my God, what's going on with me? And so he had a scare. He had high blood pressure, so he had a scare. And I said, look, we need to like really just switch this thing up. Like, no more caffeine. I know that you like the taste of coffee, but we can't do the caffeine anymore. Maybe switch to decaf. I got to wean him off things. He's a meat and potatoes kind of guy. He started doing more meal prepping, started eating less red meat, less pork. Just really kind of changing how he ate, eating more salads. He really likes spinach. And he mentioned to me the other day, he was like, you know what? I don't feel as achy when I go to sleep anymore.
Wow.
And
Okay.
that was just making small little changes. Like that wasn't even like, okay, now I'm just completely plant-based or whatever. Those were just making small little changes, not drinking as much Coca-Cola, not drinking caffeine, trying to eat like more fish than I ate red meat. Small changes like that. And I'm sure it was better for his heart because his blood pressure, he feels better. But yeah, just little things like that made a huge difference.
Yes.
Oh yeah, that's where it
How he
starts.
sleeps.
It's always the small changes. It's always just changing one thing. Just change one thing.
And continue on until you're at a happy point. But building healthy habits is what's very important. You have to develop it as a habit. It has to be second nature. It has to become ingrained in your lifestyle so that you continually, reap those benefits. Because if you just stop, you're going to go back to having those problems. It can even get worse. But if you continue on, you keep getting that relief, or it repairs itself. The damage can actually be repaired. It's not something that you have to keep living with.
Exactly.
Yes.
And you're not doomed. And just because you're getting older doesn't mean certain things have to happen.
No,
Yes.
no.
You don't have to have joint pain.
No.
You don't have to, like those aren't, there's not a law that says, there's certain things that happen
Yeah.
with age, but those don't have to happen,
And so many people accept it. Like, imagine if you would have been like, oh, yeah, that is supposed to happen. And now you aching with everybody else just because you think that you're supposed to be aching when you don't even have to be.
How old was I? 38.
Yeah.
I was supposed to be achy at 38.
No.
And, and those people aren't even lying. It's just their reality. And we got to be careful whose realities we subscribe to.
Thank you.
We have to
I
be
like
very
the way you say
careful.
I like the way you say
We
that.
do. Because people have their experiences, but it's not the experience. It's their experience. It's an
Exactly.
experience,
It's
you know?
an experience.
That's it.
But-
That's it.
Yep. It's a testimony. It's an antidote.
Mm-hmm.
So I have like 5 ways that you can protect your heart. So one of the major ways that you can protect your heart is definitely getting some good exercise. We talked about a couple episodes ago about, getting some steps in, walking as a great way to just keep your cardiovascular health going. We talked about this last week. Just keeping your cardiovascular health going. It helps with your blood vessels, help pump really good blood into your heart, out of your heart. I mean, people really underestimate what the heart is supposed to do.
Yes.
The heart is literally the one thing, because you only got one, right? You got one heart. It's the one thing in your body that helps get oxygen to the rest of your body.
Yes.
Your little pinky toe and all the other, so if that thing isn't working right, it's just not going to help. So sticking to a gym membership or walking or whatever it is.
Dancing.
Do some jumping jacks.
Yes,
dancing.
Yes.
What?
That is great cardio work.
Pole
Fun.
dancing.
Yes. Pole dancing is definitely
Put on
cardio
some
work.
Beyonce and try to keep up.
Yes.
That'll get you
Absolutely.
going. That'll
Keep
burn lots of
moving.
Very true.
Find a new spice. Yara talked a lot about the herbs, a lot about, the different herbs that she was using. So ditch the salt, ditch the Lowry's,
Yes, please.
The MSG,
Lord,
ditch the accent.
and find some new ways to flavor your food.
Yes, lean into the lemon pepper, the smoked paprika.
Yes.
Find
add
new
a
ways
little
to, obesity in this country is a problem, even among kids, and literally just losing some extra pounds can be a lifesaver for your heart.
Yes.
Just losing a couple extra pounds can really just make a world of a difference. Between life and death, really.
Yes.
People losing a couple extra pounds.
Absolutely.
Another way you can protect your heart is throw the cigarettes away.
Yeah.
That's probably one of the most unhealthiest. The cigarette smoking.
Absolutely.
And another way that you can protect your heart is pay attention to your cholesterol. Now, I told you guys this last week, and I'm going to tell you again this week. Now, I didn't tell you last week. I told you last month. At least once a year, go get your labs checked. They're part of a preventative care. And, even if you have affordable care, if you have, whatever type of insurance plan, even if you don't, there are a lot of free clinics that offer. I remember at one point, my husband didn't have, this is many, many years ago, when he was between jobs, he didn't have health insurance. So he used to go down to the free clinic and he would have a lab panel done for free. So that's something that you can get done for free if you don't have health insurance. Get your labs done at least once a year. Find out where you are. Check your cholesterol, because that's another way that that silent killer heart disease can creep up on you. You have too much cholesterol, they stick to your blood vessels, they make it really hard for your heart to do its job. You can find out right then and there if you have diabetes, another silent killer. Find out if you have high cholesterol. Find out if your hormones are out of whack. And that's something that you can get with a simple lab draw. The cost is minimal, and that's why a lot of these free clinics, they offer it for free. So I would definitely say, so those are your 5 things that you can do to protect your heart. This has been such a wonderful show. I can't believe we're almost done. I just want to thank my guests today, Yara, as always, my co-host, Latricia. This was an awesome show. Spotlight of the week, really quick. National Black HIV/AIDS Awareness Day was February 7th, but we're celebrating that all month. So all month long, we are giving awareness to National Black HIV/AIDS Awareness Day. Make sure you tune in next week. We're going to be talking about sexual health, so we're going to dive a little bit more into that. You can follow me, Nurse Shar, on IG at nurse_Shar_RN, at Twitter at Nurse Shar RN, and on TikTok at Nurse Shar RN. And on YouTube, you can find me on YouTube and Facebook at My Better Living. I want to thank again my sponsors. Thank again my guests. And make sure you tune into Power Plug Radio every Tuesday for My Better Living. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
You're listening to Power Plug Radio. Home of your throwback jams.
Literally, have we had a minute?
My Better Living. Spend some time with Nurse Shar for honest and healing conversation about the benefits, challenges, and real-life struggles of living healthy, well, fit, and free. Real discussion for real people who want real change. My Better Living. This podcast is being broadcast on Power Plug Radio, home of your throwback jams. You can download Power Plug Radio app on Google Play or the Apple iStore. Don't forget to subscribe to the Power Plug Radio YouTube, where you can catch My Better Living live every Tuesday night. And visit www.powerplugradio.com to find out how you can sponsor the next episode.
You're listening to Power Plug Radio.